Talk about brilliance. Are these 6 individuals just crazy talented? We are so blessed. Well, good morning. Happy Sunday. So glad you're here. My name is Kate Gimbalow. I have been a student of this teaching at Center for Spiritual Living for 23, 24 years, something like that. And I am continually blessed the ways in which it shows up in my life. Whenever Mike asked me to share some thoughts today, I spent some time, because this is back, I think, in October, what to say at a period in time like the one in which we find ourselves living. And so I did what I often do, and I turned to my social media hive mind of friends and said, what's the number one question or challenge that you have spiritually as you're looking into 2025? So I thought I'd share some of their answers. Having hope after the election, knowing that many are likely to suffer. Am I getting too old to make a difference in my life? How can I continue to make a difference now that certain avenues have closed? How do I not blame religion for all the religious hypocrites I experience? How can I deal with all the pain, suffering, greed, evil in the world and still trust that God exists? In what ways can we help our children center themselves in a chaotic, often unkind world? How can we let go of those things and people that no longer serve us? In the midst of all the seemingly endless tragedies that are occurring around the world, how do I keep faith? It will be Black History Month when you speak. I'm still wondering why racism is not seen as a spiritual deficit. In a world that seems so devoid of these things, how can we think on these things and dwell in peace even amidst the chaos? Well, I'd like to tell you that I'm going to be able to answer every one of those today, but I don't have enough time. But as I really pondered them over the last weeks and months, I realized that the through line in those is a question of powerlessness. And surely each of us in our personal lives go through periods of time when we feel powerless. And how do we tap into the knowing? How do we, as spiritual beings, having this physical existence in a world that can seem so out of control and scary and overwhelming, where we can feel so powerless to stop the fear and the anguish felt by so many, including, if I'm being honest, by myself? In a lot of conversations with my friends over the last months, I've asked them to just stop and reflect back across history and try to gain a little bit of perspective. I think that's where we start. There have been so many periods of time that have felt like the end of days. So many eras that were marked by incredible violence and despair. And yet mankind has prevailed. Sometimes tattered, always changed. But the indomitable spirit of our race somehow finds a way. Love finds a way. But how? In our teaching, we believe that troubled times are often seen as a period of necessary transformation and spiritual growth. That is true when it's within your life, if you can see it as such, whether it's a personal thing like the loss of a friendship or a career setback or some other personal challenge that comes into your life. But it's also societal, global, where collective energy is shifting. It's leading individuals and societies to confront their inner shadows and ultimately evolve to a higher consciousness. It has always been so. Troubled times are not isolated events. They're reflections of this larger imbalance in the collective consciousness that impacts everyone on the planet. So how do we tap in to the needs of the current time right now to help us move individually and collectively through this period and onto that higher experience? Well, I'd like to share some tools with you, 5 of them. 1, see the positive potential within the chaos. It's not what's happening, it's what's coming, right? Look at the challenges as opportunities for personal and spiritual development, urging us to find meaning and measure within whatever difficult situation has shown up for you. Pull back, ask yourself, what is the potential upside to me as I pass through this period of time? You know, I reflect still on what I learned coming through the COVID pandemic, right? I share such strong bonds with that small inner circle that I spent 18 months with. The deeper gratitude I have every time someone comes and sits around the table with me. How I take things for granted much less than I used to. It's hard to see that when I was living in it, but it's the joys that have remained thereafter. 2, tap into the power of intention, right? This is one of our spiritual practices. Consciously focus on positive thoughts and intentions. And by that, we can influence the outcome of events and contribute to a more harmonious world. Continue those practices that help you to set the positive intention of seeing the world as it will be and not necessarily the way it is showing up for you right now. So, see the positive potential in the chaos. Tap into the power of intention of what is to come. 3, remain in alignment with higher purpose. Troubled times are a call to discover one's true life purpose. And if you do that and you align with that, your actions are always going to be toward the greater good. 4, lean into your spiritual practices. I don't know which ones you use the most. I think of them like I have a tool belt on. They're kind of all over, and I pull different ones out. 1, meditation, mindfulness. Quiet the mind. Access that inner wisdom. Stay grounded in the moment. 2, visualization, right? Create those mental images of the desired outcome to attract that positive change. Affirmations. Repeat over and over the positive statements that reinforce that positive mindset. Nature connection. Get outside. Hug a tree. Breathe the icy cold air. Tap into and reconnect with that universal energy and find the peace of nature, the harmonious quality of nature around you. And 5, community building. Connect with like-minded individuals to share support and collective positive energy. And I'm not talking about people who want to pull up a chair and gripe, right? I'm talking about the positive people with whom you can break on the shores of their lives and they will lift you back up, and vice versa, and help you remember what is good. And then the last step is to learn about and adopt a powerful divine action plan. This step, this 5th step, is what moves us from being lost about how we can affect change, and it moves us to action, to shift the specifics of the moment. This, to me, is the final step of the entire process. Do all those other things, but then, after you are healthy and grounded, use those things to do something. Capital D, do. My friend Haley Bland Walsh says, treat and then move your feet. Because visualizing and believing is not nearly as effective as putting that into action. I believe it is the actions that we choose every day that creates the change we want to see in the world. And that divine action, it comes on so many different levels. So don't shy away from it. Right? From those who focus on the small caring touches in how they support others. Divine action. To those who put their heads down and they work for change through the systems that are being attacked. Divine action. To the activists who stand on the front line and point a spotlight on what is wrong. Each of those approaches matter. When you take divine action, you tap into the knowing, the remembering that God, the universe, is operating through the power of our thoughts and imaginations. And that like the pebble that you drop into a pond, that action with intention and love ripples out and affects change. Sometimes that means standing up and speaking out on a street corner. Sometimes it means reaching down to pull somebody else up. Sometimes it means simply touching the heart of a stranger in a chance encounter. There's a place and a need for them all, and divine action also includes the staying still to replenish and renew. You know, the Bible shares in a passage, I think, that Paul wrote, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And I would add, and then go do something. These steps, they work in troubled times, whether they're personal ones, societal ones, or global ones. All worries can be affected by taking some kind of action. Going back and thinking through some of the darker times in our country, as I've counseled my friends to think back, I'm reminded about surely one of the darkest. In 1797, the world was an unkind and scary place for a person of color, especially in our country. The scourge of slavery and the terrible atrocities that it brought with it that have left such deep scars in our country. And into that system of slavery was born a baby who was bought and sold 4 times. She was subjected to harsh physical labor and violent punishment. In her teens, she was united to another enslaved human with whom she had 5 children, all of whom were considered property. At the age of 30, this woman ran away from the slave owner with her youngest child, and her freedom was bought by an abolitionist family for $20. They ultimately helped her sue to get back her 5-year-old son who had been illegally sold into slavery. In the following years, she moved to New York City, and she became quite devout. She found her spirituality, and within a few years of that, she became a charismatic speaker in religious revivals. But ultimately, she met people like Susan B. Anthony, and she began to speak out not just about slavery, but about women's rights. This woman somehow found her voice in an atmosphere that did not welcome it, did not welcome her, and in a climate of danger. And for the remainder of her life, she used her voice to help one person after another to escape slavery and make a new start. Her name was Sojourner Truth. One human, one person, leaned into her divinity and her faith and stepped up for person after person to change, no, literally to save their lives. That level of divine action leans into what is called spiritual activism, the combining of mindful awareness with spirituality to promote social justice. That is my choice for divine action. I've long been one of those placard-carrying, chanting people walking the street to the Capitol. And if I'm going to be honest, after decades of doing that, I can sometimes feel hopeless, feel like all the things that we've done have not created the world we deserve, this life of inalienable rights, of equality, of safety. So how, I ask, have the other spiritual activists before us, those people who have been in divine action, how have they done it? I mean, I think about Jesus and the tumultuous world in which he was born and the life that he led, or the 14th Dalai Lama's struggle to escape tyranny, or the ravages of apartheid that Desmond Tutu felt compelled to combat, or the dark period of racism for Dr. Martin Luther King. We think of those humans and all the others who pop into your minds right now as the exception, but they're not the exception. They're the rule. At their core, they were simply people who wanted to affect change, and to do so one moment, one person, one chance at a time. We read about the big moments of their action plans, but we don't see the millions of little ways that they touched lives and changed the world, those one-on-one connection points with individuals, the single moments of hope, just hope that they spread to others, the little simple ways they lived that life of a desire for change. I want to share with you one of my favorite stories. Some years ago, there was a professor who invited a monk to speak to his senior elective class to enlighten his students. They were very excited, and of course, they were expecting this great life lesson or these deep philosophical moments with this monk. So they're all in the classroom, and the monk walks in. He goes to the front of the classroom to the board, and he wrote, "Everyone wants to save the world, but no one wants to help mom do the dishes." Yep. And the students and the professors were perplexed, and they did exactly what you did. They began to laugh. And then the monk said to them, and I want to get this right, statistically, It's highly unlikely that any of you will ever have the opportunity to run into a burning building and save lives. But in the smallest gesture of kindness, a warm smile, holding the door of the person behind you, giving a genuine compliment, lending an ear to someone who wants to pour out things that weigh upon their heart, you have immeasurable profundity. Because to each of us, our life is our universe. No act of kindness is too small. Each of it makes the world a better place. But that is literally the lesson that Jesus gave us when he said, "Love each other as I have loved you." It is the words of Dr. King. If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. Nelson Mandela, who shared, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." And climate change, Katharine Hayhoe, you may not know her, but you should follow her, Canadian. She said, "I don't have to change the world all by myself. I just need a partner in the work that God wants us to do." Wow, if that's not CSL, because it is a partnership. And it's in her words where I find my personal resolve and my solace. You see, neither I nor you alone will be the great activator of change. We will likely not go down in any history books or have documentaries made about our effect on the world. But I will leave this earth having changed the very timbre of its breath. I will have left my handprint on as many lives as possible, as will you. So each day, I want you to wake up. And before you tap into the reality of the world, especially the one that you see in the news or on social media, I want you to spend some time in spiritual practice. I want you to tap into the knowing that there is more at play than we can see. Remind yourself that we are passing through whatever stress and turmoil is showing itself for us to emerge on the other side, more elevated, more evolved. And then I ask you to take an extra moment and ask yourself, what is mine to do today? What divine action can I take to shift what is happening? What energy can I cast out, trusting that it will be the change needed? And if it is smaller than other days, that's okay. And if it's warrior level, that's great too. But do something. My friends, my message today to you is not to despair, whatever is showing up in your life. Turn inward. Tap into that amazing source from which all life springs. That inalienable connection to God that knows the truth. Not what you see around you. Not what the real world is trying to convince you to believe things are. No. You are spiritual activists with a divine action plan, and it is your superpower to affect change just like that ripple in the pond. Because you know that's what we're seeing today, right? We're seeing the last dying gasps around the world of systems that don't work, of beliefs focused on lack and envy and greed. And it's become so acute at this point in history because we are going through a metamorphosis, a rebirth. And as we sit in that knowing, the human question arises, what are we each going to do about it? So my divine action is often loud. It's also quiet and small, doing things that no one will ever know. So no matter what your divine actions are, I want you to rest easy, knowing that you are having an impact on this world. You are leaving your handprint on the hearts of others. And when you need to stop and rest and reflect within to heal, that is divine action as well. These choices, these actions are changing and saving the world one day, one life at a time. You are a superhero. No burning building required. So go forth and make your divine action plan. So ends the lesson. Thank you. This is the point in time, after so many words and amazing music, that we get to reflect and move within. And so I welcome you to take a deep breath in with me and exhale slowly. Let your shoulders soften. Release any tension in your body. And allow yourself to arrive fully in this moment. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And bring your awareness to your breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. And now imagine the roots that grow from the soles of your feet, reaching far past this building into the very depth of the earth. Roots ground you, anchoring you in strength, wisdom, something greater than yourself. With every inhale, draw in peace. And with each exhale, release any heaviness, any doubt. You are here, you are present, and you are ready. We turn inward and reconnect with that boundless source, that divine spark within that knows without a doubt what is real. This is your unbreakable connection to God, to truth, to purpose. You are not powerless. You are a spiritual activist armed with a divine action plan. Every thought, every choice, every act of love is that ripple in the pond of existence. In this period of rebirth, we are the midwives to a sacred unfolding, something new that is emerging, and we are ushering it in, not through force, no, through love. Each act of that love, every choice that we make in truth, leaves an imprint on the heart of others. I offer you the chance to place your hand over your heart. Feel that steady rhythm. A reminder that you are alive, that you are here for a reason. And repeat to yourself, internally or out loud, I am connected. I am guided. I am a force of love and transformation. My actions, no matter how small, create waves of change. I trust in divine timing. I trust in myself. I am exactly where I need to be. take one final deep breath in, exhaling slowly. When you are ready, open your eyes and know that you are ready. You are enough. Go forth in peace.